The phone rang at 3 a.m., piercing through Marcus Thompson's alcohol-induced sleep like a blade. His trembling hands fumbled for the device as flashing blue and red lights painted his cramped Lagos apartment walls. "Mr. Thompson, this is Detective Williams. We need you to come down to the station immediately. Your pyramid scheme just collapsed, and we have 3 suicide notes mentioning your name." The line went dead, leaving Marcus staring at his reflection in the black screen, watching his entire world crumble in real time. But wait, if you think you know how this story ends, you're wrong. Hit that subscribe button because what Marcus did next will leave you speechless. 6 months earlier, Marcus had been just another lazy man desperate for quick money in the bustling streets of Lagos. At 28, he'd never held a job for more than 3 months, always finding excuses to quit when the work got challenging. His girlfriend Sarah had finally given him an ultimatum. "Get your life together, or I'm gone, Marcus. I can't keep supporting a man who won't even try." Those words stung because they were true. While his childhood friends like David and Michael built successful careers, Marcus spent his days scrolling through social media, envying their success posts and dreaming of shortcuts to wealth. The mirror reflected a man who'd let opportunities slip through his fingers like water, and the shame was eating him alive. The breaking point came when his landlord, Mr. Adebayo, knocked on his door with an eviction notice. "Son, you're 3 months behind on rent. I've been patient because I knew your father, but my patience has limits." Marcus watched the older man's disappointed face and felt something snap inside him. That evening, scrolling through get-rich-quick schemes online, he stumbled upon stories of people making thousands through investment programs. His lazy mind immediately latched onto the idea, why work hard when you could work smart? The seed of deception was planted, watered by desperation and fertilized by his refusal to face reality through honest work. As Marcus stared at his eviction notice that night, his phone buzzed with a message from his tech-savvy cousin, James. "Bro, I've been learning about cryptocurrency and online investment platforms. People are making serious money. Want me to show you some tricks?" Marcus's heart raced as he typed back, "Yes, everything." He didn't know that this single message would trigger a chain of events that would destroy lives, break families, and turn him from a lazy dreamer into Lagos's most wanted fraudster. The lazy man who wanted quick money was about to discover that some shortcuts lead straight to hell. Will Marcus's desperate gamble pay off? Or is he walking into a trap that will destroy everything he touches? Don't click away. Next chapter will reveal the shocking method Marcus used to steal millions. And trust me, you won't see it coming. Make sure to hit that like button if this story is keeping you on the edge of your seat. James spread the laptop screen wide on Marcus's rickety table, his fingers dancing across the keyboard with the confidence of someone who'd found gold. "Look, cousin, it's simple. We create a fake investment platform, promise people 200% returns in 60 days, and use new investors' money to pay the early ones. It's called a Ponzi scheme, but if we're smart about it, we can make millions before anyone catches on." Marcus felt his stomach twist as he stared at the professional-looking website James had designed, complete with fake testimonials and fabricated profit charts. The lazy part of his brain whispered seductively, this was it, the shortcut he'd been searching for his entire life. But isn't this stealing, James? People will lose their money. Marcus's conscience made a weak protest, but his cousin's laugh cut through his doubts like a hot knife through butter. "Marcus, wake up. Those same people would step on your face to get ahead. Look around you, this broken chair, that leaking ceiling, Sarah threatening to leave. You think honesty got you here?" James pulled out his phone, showing Marcus photos of luxury cars and expensive watches. "My friend Emmanuel made 2 million naira in 3 months with a similar scheme. He's now driving a Range Rover while you're dodging your landlord. The choice is yours, brother." Marcus watched the rain dripping through his ceiling, forming a puddle near his feet, and felt his resolve crumble like wet paper. The next morning, Marcus and James launched African Dream Investments, a sophisticated-looking platform promising investors guaranteed returns through exclusive cryptocurrency mining operations. They started small, targeting Marcus's social media contact with carefully crafted posts about his newfound success in digital investments. Within days, his former colleague Janet sent him 50,000 naira to invest, followed by his neighbor Grace with 30,000. The money felt surreal in Marcus's hands, more cash than he'd seen in months, earn without breaking a sweat. For the first time in his life, the lazy man's dream of quick money seemed to be coming true, and the intoxicating taste of easy wealth made him forget every moral principle he'd ever claimed to believe. But success bred greed, and greed demanded expansion. Marcus began approaching friends, family members, and even strangers with increasingly elaborate lies about his investment expertise. He rented a small office, bought expensive clothes, and started hosting investment seminars where he'd flash fake profit statements and promise financial freedom to anyone brave enough to trust him. His girlfriend Sarah, impressed by his sudden transformation, agreed to invest her entire savings of 200,000 naira. As Marcus watched her hand over the money with loving trust in her eyes, a small voice in his head screamed that he was crossing a line from which there might be no return. Marcus just took money from the woman he loves, but that's nothing compared to what happens when his scheme reaches the wrong person. Next chapter will reveal the powerful enemy Marcus accidentally made, and the revenge that's about to rain down on him like thunder. If you're invested in this story, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments, how far would you go for quick money? The black Mercedes pulled up outside Marcus's new office with the quiet menace of a predator stalking its prey. Chief Okafor emerged from the vehicle, his 6-foot frame commanding immediate attention from every passerby on the busy Lagos street. His expensive Egbada couldn't hide the cold calculation in his eyes as he approached the African Dream Investments office, flanked by 2 bodyguards whose bulging jackets suggested they weren't carrying smartphones. Marcus, who'd been celebrating another successful investor meeting, felt his blood freeze when he saw the man he'd been avoiding for weeks, the man whose wife had invested their daughter's university fund without permission. Mr. Marcus Thompson. Chief Okafor's voice carried the weight of barely contained rage as he entered the office. My wife gave you 5 million naira of my money 6 weeks ago. She said you promised 200% returns in 60 days. Today is day 42, and when she asked for an update, you stopped taking her calls. Marcus's hands trembled as he tried to maintain his composure, but the sweat beading on his forehead betrayed his panic. This wasn't some desperate office worker he could string along with fake profit reports. Chief Okafor owned 3 construction companies and had connections that could make people disappear. The lazy man's quick money scheme had just bumped into real power, and real power didn't negotiate. Chief, please understand, investments take time to mature. The cryptocurrency market has been volatile, but I assure you, Marcus's rehearsed explanation died in his throat as one of the bodyguards stepped closer, revealing a gun handle beneath his jacket. Chief Okafor raised his hand, stopping his man with a gesture that spoke of years commanding fear and respect. Young man, I didn't build my wealth by accepting excuses from small boys playing with money they don't understand. You have exactly 72 hours to return my wife's investment with the promised returns, or I will personally ensure that your lazy bones never see another sunset. The threat hung in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre, and Marcus realized that his comfortable world of lies was about to explode. As Chief Okafor's Mercedes disappeared into Lagos traffic, Marcus collapsed into his chair, his entire body shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. He grabbed his phone and called James frantically, but the line went straight to voicemail. His cousin had vanished the moment things got serious, taking a substantial portion of their ill-gotten gains with him. Alone in his office, surrounded by fake certificates and fabricated testimonials, Marcus faced a crushing reality that he owed investors over 15 million naira and had barely 3 million left in various bank accounts. The lazy man who'd wanted quick money was about to learn that in the real world, debts to powerful men weren't just financial obligations. They were survival contracts written in blood. Marcus has 72 hours before Chief Okafor comes collecting, but you won't believe what desperate measure he takes next. Next chapter reveals the most shocking betrayal yet, involving the one person who trusted him completely. This story is about to take a turn so dark, you'll question everything you thought you knew about loyalty. Don't miss it. Hit that notification bell and prepare for the plot twist that changes everything. Sarah's hand shook as she held the fake bank statement Marcus had printed, her eyes reading the numbers over and over as if repetition could make them real. 12 million naira profit in 2 months? Marcus, this can't be right. You started with almost nothing. Her voice carried a mixture of disbelief and growing suspicion that made Marcus's chest tighten with guilt. He'd called her to his apartment with a desperate plan, convince her to withdraw her life savings from her fixed deposit and invest everything she owned to help him pay Chief Okafor. The lazy man who'd once promised to protect her heart was now preparing to shatter it for his own survival. Baby, I know it sounds impossible, but the cryptocurrency boom is real. Look at these testimonials from other investors. Marcus pulled up fabricated WhatsApp screenshots on his phone, each message crafted to show satisfied clients praising his investment genius. Sarah studied each image carefully, her banking background making her naturally skeptical of financial miracles. Marcus, honey, I've worked in finance for 6 years. These returns are too good to be true. No legitimate investment doubles money in 60 days without massive risk. But as she spoke, Marcus grabbed her hands, looking into her eyes with the practiced sincerity of a man who'd perfected the art of deception. Sarah, when have I ever lied to you about something this important? This is our chance to build the future we've always dreamed of. The manipulation worked like poison seeping into Sarah's bloodstream. Marcus spent the next hour weaving elaborate stories about exclusive investment opportunities, showing her rental car photos he claimed were his new purchases, and even staging a fake phone call with a satisfied investor who was actually his neighbor's voice disguised through an app. Sarah's love for Marcus battled against her professional instincts, and love proved the weaker opponent. Okay, Marcus, I trust you more than I trust my own doubts. I'll withdraw my fixed deposit tomorrow. That's 1.8 million naira. But promise me, on your mother's grave, that this isn't some elaborate lie. Marcus looked into the eyes of the woman who'd stood by him through 2 years of unemployment and failure, and sealed her financial destruction with a kiss. I promise, my love, we're about to be rich. 24 hours later, Sarah's money sat in Marcus's account while she slept peacefully beside him, dreaming of their bright future together. But Marcus lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling and calculating his options. Even with Sarah's money, he was still short by over 8 million naira, with Chief Okafor's deadline approaching like a speeding train. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Time is running out. Young man, my patience expires with the sun tomorrow. Pay up or face the consequences. CO. Marcus slipped out of bed, kissed Sarah's sleeping forehead, and made a decision that would haunt him forever. He was going to disappear with whatever money remained, leaving everyone who trusted him to face the wreckage alone. Marcus is about to abandon everyone who believed in him, but fate has one final, devastating surprise waiting. Next chapter will reveal the shocking discovery that changes everything, and I guarantee you won't see it coming. This betrayal runs deeper than anything we've seen so far. Comment below. Do you think Sarah will ever forgive Marcus for what he's about to do? And don't forget to subscribe because this story isn't over yet. Marcus's hands froze on his laptop keyboard as Sarah's voice echoed from the bedroom, sharp and desperate. Marcus, come here right now. The tone sent ice through his veins. This wasn't the voice of a woman calling her lover, but of someone who'd just discovered a terrible truth. He'd been transferring money to offshore accounts, preparing for his midnight escape, when a scream shattered his concentration like glass against concrete. With trembling legs, he walked toward the bedroom, knowing instinctively that his world was about to collapse in ways he'd never imagined. The lazy man who'd built his house of lies on other people's trust was about to discover that some secrets refused to stay buried. What is this, Marcus? Sarah stood by his dresser, holding a folder filled with printed emails, bank statements, and investor complaints he'd thought was safely hidden. Her face was a mask of betrayal and growing horror as she read aloud. Dear Mr. Thompson, my grandmother invested a pension with you and now she can't afford her heart medication. Please return our money. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she continued. Another one. My son's school fees were invested in your scheme. The semester starts Monday and we have nothing. Marcus, how many people have you stolen from? The evidence scattered across the floor like fallen leaves, each document representing a life he destroyed in pursuit of quick money and lazy wealth. The confrontation that followed was a masterclass in how trust dies and love transforms into something dangerous. Sarah threw bank statements at Marcus's chest as she screamed. My little sister Gloria gave you her NYSC allowance. My mother invested her retirement savings because I told her you were trustworthy. You looked me in the eyes and promised on your mother's grave that this was legitimate. Marcus tried to explain, to justify, to manipulate his way out of the crisis, but Sarah's banker instinct had finally awakened. She'd spent the night investigating, calling investors, and uncovering the full scope of his betrayal. You're not just a thief, Marcus. You're a monster who destroys families and then sleeps peacefully at night. As Sarah grabbed her phone to call the police, Marcus made the most desperate decision of his life. He lunged for the device, and in the struggle that followed, Sarah fell backward, hitting her head against the sharp corner of the dresser with a sickening crack. The room fell silent except for the sound of Marcus's ragged breathing and the slow trickle of blood pooling beneath Sarah's motionless body. The lazy man who'd wanted nothing more than quick money without consequences now knelt beside the woman he claimed to love, watching her life slip away because of his greed. His phone buzzed with a text from Chief Okafor. "Time's up. We're coming." Marcus realized that in trying to escape one nightmare, he'd stumbled into something infinitely worse. Sarah isn't moving. Chief Okafor is on his way, and Marcus has blood on his hands. But you won't believe what happens when the police arrive and discover something that changes this entire story. Next chapter is the explosive finale that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Hit that subscribe button because this ending will blow your mind, and make sure to comment, what do you think really happened to Sarah? Detective Williams studied the crime scene with the cold efficiency of someone who'd seen humanity's darkest moments, but even she wasn't prepared for what they discovered in Marcus Thompson's apartment. Sarah lay unconscious but breathing, a head injury that looked worse than it was, while Marcus sat in the corner, confessing to crimes that kept multiplying like cancer cells. "I stole everything. Detective, 23 million naira from over 200 investors. I manipulated my girlfriend, betrayed my family, and when she tried to stop me, I hurt her." But as Williams documented his confession, her partner Detective Adeyemi made a discovery that would rewrite the entire narrative of this case. "Detective Williams, you need to see this," Adeyemi called from Marcus's computer, his voice heavy with disbelief. On the screen were bank records showing that Marcus had been secretly returning money to investors for the past month. Not all of it, but substantial amounts that contradicted his own confession. More shocking still were email drafts addressed to every investor, detailed confessions, and repayment plans he'd never sent. Sarah's medical records from her phone showed she'd been taking medication for seizures, a condition Marcus apparently didn't know about. The attack that had haunted Marcus's conscience was actually a medical episode triggered by stress and emotional shock. The lazy man who thought he was a monster was actually something more complex, a coward who tried to do the right thing but never found the courage to follow through. As paramedics rushed Sarah to the hospital, she regained consciousness long enough to grab Marcus's hand and whisper, "The investors. I found them all. They deserve their money back, but they also deserve to know you tried." Her words hit Marcus like lightning, because he realized he'd discovered his secret attempts at restitution. The sleepless nights he'd spent calculating how to return every stolen naira, the legitimate job applications he'd submitted to earn clean money for repayment, the suicide letters he'd written and deleted. Sarah had seen past his cowardice to the fragments of conscience he thought had died. Chief Okafor arrived just as the ambulance departed, but instead of violence, he brought lawyers and accountants. "Boy, you're going to work for me for the next 5 years, and every naira you earn will go to those investors until the debt is paid." 6 months later, Marcus sat in the same police station where the story began, but as a witness rather than a defendant. His pyramid scheme had indeed collapsed, but the 3 suicide notes mentioned his name as someone who'd saved them, investors he'd secretly paid back before the scheme unraveled. Sarah, recovered and stronger, had testified on his behalf, explaining how Marcus's clumsy attempts at redemption had actually prevented a catastrophe. He'd served time, lost everything, and now worked 18-hour days in Chief Okafor's construction company, but something had changed in the lazy man's eyes. The quick money he'd chased had cost him everything, but the slow process of earning forgiveness was teaching him the value of honest work. Detective Williams closed the file and realized this wasn't really a story about fraud. It was about a lazy man who discovered that the hardest work is facing the consequences of your choices and building something real from the ruins of your mistakes. And that's how a lazy man's search for quick money led him to discover that true wealth comes from the hard work of earning back trust, one honest day at a time. What did you think of Marcus's journey? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. Hit that subscribe button for more incredible true stories. And remember, sometimes the longest road is the only one that leads home. See you in the next story.